The best coaches in the world. Our team brings home more knockout of the night bonuses, more submission of the night bonus, more fight of the night bonuses than any other team in UFC's history. And that can be, you can research it if you don't believe me. And so when you're at the top, it's easy to make fun of that guy. It's easy. Everybody can sit at home on the computer and talk trash about the guy who's out there traveling the whole. He never, he hardly ever gets to see his family as much because he's always caring about fighters. There's so many fighters on his roster that they make $200 to fight, and he'll travel to Japan to corner that guy, knowing that there's nothing in return for him. That's the type of guy he is. He's an amazing man who's dedicated his life to martial arts. And if you consider yourself a martial arts fan, you need to respect Greg Jackson. It's sad that people don't respect what this man is doing for the sport. It really is. For this fight, I worked on my bottom game a lot, just really being comfortable, being on my back, being smothered by Sean Jordan, LSU linebacker, who's also a UFC heavyweight. My older brother, Baltimore Ravens football player, very powerful, explosive in the hips, where Rashaad's powerful. These guys have been on top of me and smothering me, putting their hands on my face and cross-facing me, putting their forearms on my throat.
Making pressure on the screen.
Pressure. Greg Jackson tells me all the time, John, you need to master being comfortable when you're uncomfortable. And I'm totally comfortable, uncomfortable. Rashaad can't make me uncomfortable in this fight. Rashaad, he is confident that he can take me down, but it's not a wrestling match. Him taking me down does nothing. I mean, when he did get me down, his grounding pound was not that devastating, I didn't feel. He's never even submitted anybody, well, not in the UFC, I don't think. He never even attempts submissions. So I'm not afraid of being taken down at all. But I mean, him and Phil Davis had this big pride thing where it was like, Penn State versus Michigan, you won't take me down. Take me down, I don't care. I'm going to try not to get taken down, but I try not to get any points away. I try not to get hit. I try not to get kicked. I try not to get taken down. But if he does, the fight continues. I'm not competing in a wrestling match. I mean, if he takes me down, put me on my back, they're not going to slap the mat and call me pinned.
So you weren't impressed by his ground game he showed against Phil?
No, not really. Phil's a great kid, and I hate to disrespect him, but Phil didn't come to fight that fight. He was flailing, and he wasn't trying to shrimp to get position back. Stand-ups. He let Rashaad have his way with him, and I'm not going to do that at all. So I'm not afraid of Rashaad's ground game. If anything, he should be afraid of mine. When I take people down, they open up. There's blood. That's my elbows. I'm realizing they do work. Rashaad doesn't do anything but kill the clock. I can't say that I've incorporated anything from working out with Rashaad, but I guess he's a great example of how keeping wrestling strong in your workouts is important. He did a lot of collegiate wrestling workouts, and I kind of got away from him a little bit. I do a lot of MMA style wrestling, and he does a lot of collegiate wrestling, a lot of positions that you don't necessarily get into in wrestling and MMA a lot. He does a lot of traditional warm-ups, a lot of traditional things that a college wrestling team would do. So that's kind of what I got from him. Honestly, Rashaad doesn't really get me uncomfortable. When you're engaged in an argument, you argue back a little. But I mean, if anything, all the drama that's happened in the interviews that you're talking about, they happened too early. I mean, it would be smart to try to really make bold statements and get at me the week of the fight. He did it so long ago now, where I'm just, it's gone and passed. So, I can't really agree that he really got me uncomfortable. He definitely got me to engage in an argument. That happens every day. In the past, I definitely didn't take my nutrition very seriously at all. You would catch me eating chocolate the week of a fight, chocolate cake, Wendy's when I was hungry. I've always believed that if you work hard, it didn't really matter what you ate, and I'm coming to find out at this level of fighting that that's simply not true. So I really am conscious of everything that I put in my mouth now, and I just train harder. I train harder than I used to train. I lift heavier weight, and I'm developing into a young man, or into a man, hence the beard. So yeah, I just feel stronger. My technique's getting better and cleaner. When I watch my first fights, I used to flail and everything was flaily, and I realized the power of flexing your abdominals when you try to strike and things like that. And I definitely feel as if I'm hitting harder, and I'm excited to. I wobble Rampage a little bit when I hit him, and wobble Leota when I hit him, and I think out of all those guys, Rashaad has the weakest chin. I think he has the weakest chin I've fought in since 2010, and I think I'm going to exploit that.